Hey everybody, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Dylan.
And it is the 2024 Review Crew Academy Awards Extravaganza.
We made it.
Woo! Academy Awards! Oh,
exciting.
Nobody around me was clapping. Anyways, well, the people are going to be clapping at the Academy Awards this Sunday. Dylan, how are you feeling? Are you excited for them?
Dude, it's a big year. A lot of great movies. I'm very excited to see who wins. I mean, I think we have a clear winner who's going to, take a lot of the awards. But either way, I'm very excited to see the show.
Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem will be sweeping, and I believe it's going to be one of the greatest days of my entire life. But before we go to a movie that actually wasn't even nominated for Best Animated Feature, and that disgusts me, there were some nominations for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. And Dylan, do you know who's going to tell us all about them?
Yep, let's go over to Camilla and Ro, who's going to be doing those awards for us.
Hi, I'm Ro.
Hi, I'm Camila.
And we are going to be talking about the Academy Award nominations for Best Actress
And Best Actress in a Supporting Role. And the nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role are Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Daniel Brooks, The Color Purple, America Ferrera, Barbie, Jodie Foster, Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers. I think for Best Actress Supporting Role, I'm really stuck between two, Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer and Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple. I think both very powerful movies, especially The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Considering the way of the world right now.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
I think Daniel Brooks did an amazing job.
She did, for sure, stand out of that movie. I really appreciated both, her vocal performance, amazing, out of this world, and then also just, the depth that she brought to the movie. There are a lot of light moments in it, but she was able to ground the lighter moments and then bring a lot of, humor is maybe not exactly the right word, but a lot of lightness. I don't know, I thought she did a really, really good job.
I think so, too. She definitely made me feel like I was there.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, obviously, one of the biggest blockbusters.
I mean...
with Barbenheimer and everything.
Yeah.
But I think Emily Blunt did really, really well in her role.
Yeah, she wasn't given, in my opinion, a ton of material to work with, but I do think that what she was given, she really ran away with. I mean, she just handled that, script and the scope of it so well, and I think she was really good for that kind of emotional grounding of Oppenheimer's romantic relationships. Florence Pugh, Jean Tatlock, she's kind of up in the air a little bit, but Emily Blunt really grounds it, and that I think really, really helped.
Yeah, she made it work.
Yeah, she really
made
did.
It work. I think of the two, though, I think I'm gonna have to go with Daniel Brooks. I think her just musical talent, and her bit of humor really helped a lot.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Emily Blunt. I feel like Oppenheimer's gonna sweep it all. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. And now we're gonna talk about the nominees for Best Actress. Annette Bening, Nyad. Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon. Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall. Carey Mulligan, Maestro. Emma Stone, Poor Things. All right, so what are your thoughts on Best Actress in a Leading Role?
I definitely think I might go to Emma Stone for Poor Things. I think she did an amazing job. Just the dramatization of everything was really, really well.
It's a difficult character to channel. There's a lot going on there, but I think if anybody was going to do it, Emma Stone. I have been saying for years she is the comedic actress of our generation. There's a lot of comedy in Poor Things, but there's a lot of drama too. I think she handled both of them well. Definitely shout out to her. Shout out to Sandra Hüller as well. Just given the competitiveness of the category this year, I'm not sure if she's going to win, but Anatomy of a Fall was my favorite film of last year. It was amazing in every way. That performance was stellar. I do think, though, it's going to go to Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, in a movie full of amazing performances and just stand out everything in general, she really just ran away with it. She took again, not a lot of material in my personal opinion, but she made it the biggest part of the film. Her journey is the film for me, and I think that is really, really amazing to do in a film like that.
I think it's also amazing she's an Indigenous woman.
Yeah.
Part of such an important historical movie, and I think she did it very, very well.
Yeah, and if she does win, she will be the first Indigenous woman to win an Oscar, which is a huge, amazing step forward. Obviously, shouldn't have taken this long, but I think this is a really good movie and a really good role for it to be the thing. And now let's go back to Dylan and Gabe.
Wow, thanks, guys.
All right, now we are looking right into a camera, and when I think cameras, I think the greatest cinematographer I know, Ian Michael Kirkpatrick. And he is with Mino, telling us about Best Production Design and Best Cinematography. Let's check it out.
Hey everybody, I'm Mino.
And I'm Ian.
And today we're going to be talking about the Oscar nominations for Best Production Design
And Best Cinematography.
Let's start with Production Design. Here are the nominees. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Alright, Ian, so obviously this is a pretty stacked category. I think it could go, any way, but I think I have Oppenheimer just the way they were able to reconstruct Los Alamos in anticipation for the Trinity test. A sleeper I have, Napoleon. Ridley Scott, he's a legend, but he's in his Wizards MJ era probably, but I think the production design on that movie is pretty impressive, and it really entrenches you in that 1700s, 1800s era. But what about you? What do you got?
This was a good year for production design. I think my two front runners are Barbie or Poor Things. and I think I'm just gonna have to go with Poor Things. I think the world is so unique. Same with Barbie, but Barbie's like half in the real world, so who cares? But the world of Poor Things was just so unique, and the fact that they were able to like transport us to that world is with the production design is just like that's what it's all about. So that's got my pick.
Sure.
Here are the nominations for Best Cinematography: Edward Lockman for El Conde, Rodrigo Prieto for Killers of the Flower Moon, Matthew Libatique for Maestro, Hoyt van Hoytema for Oppenheimer, and Robbie Ryan for Poor Things. I think cinematography was great this year too. I don't think it was as stacked as last year. I think what it really comes down to for me are Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon. And while I think Oppenheimer is just a beautifully shot movie, I think I got to give it to Killers of the Flower Moon. It was like my biggest saving grace for that movie. I thought that movie was very boring. Sorry, Gabe. I know you hate this take, but I thought it was absolutely gorgeous the whole time. So that really saved the movie for me.
Yeah, you're the cinematographer here, so I'm gonna defer to you on that. I don't necessarily agree that the rest of Killers of the Flower Moon was boring, but I do agree that it did have some pretty stellar cinematography. I think I'm gonna lean towards Oppenheimer. I was just really like captivated by the visuals there. I thought they were stunning, but I agree with you. I think it's gonna go to either one of them, and like either way, I don't think you could go wrong. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Now let's go back to Dylan and Gabe.
Thanks, you guys. You know, it's always nice to have Mino on camera.
Oh, yeah. But imagine Mino didn't have to be on camera. Imagine after you can go do some visual effects or, something in post. All right, let's go check out animation and best visual effects with Jake and Ryan.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jake.
And today we're going to talk about the Academy Award nominees for Best Visual Effects.
And animated film.
And the nominees for Best Visual Effects are The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and Napoleon. Okay, first of all, I just want to say VFX I think is an underrated category. This is like a fun category for me. I think I feel like VFX artists in general are kind of the unsung heroes of the industry. But just real quick, I want to throw out Mission Impossible. I don't think it's going to win, but I am like probably the biggest fan of this franchise, and this entire series has been completely slept on by the Academy, so I don't know why. Happy that it's there. Who do I think it's going to win, though? I think Godzilla Minus One has this in the bag. Not only do I think that they've been campaigning hard for this, and people have responded well to the movie, and totally unbiased because it was my favorite movie of last year, but the fact that this movie accomplished what it did with $15 million, and it looks like a movie that cost $200 million, I think is insane. So I think that's the biggest reason why it's going to win. So what do you think?
Yeah, my pick, I was going to say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 just because I love that movie, but my pick, I'm going to go to The Creator. It just, for such an interesting concept of what it was, the way it made these like android people and they had these things in the back of their head, the futuristic stuff, the space stuff, all of it just looked great and looked honestly pretty real.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, is that, like, I think Creator is a good pick. It was going to be my first one, but I just think the love that Godzilla's gotten this past year, I really feel like that mixed with what they did accomplish in a minimal budget. And, of course, like, $50 million is a lot of money for anybody, but the fact that there are movies that are getting made in the studio system that are $300 million that look like they cost, like, $5, like, of course, the theatrical cut of Justice League is, totally not looking at that one. But Godzilla Minus One, what they did with that minimal budget compared to that, I think that's going to win.
Okay, now let's talk about the Oscar nominees for Best Animated Film. And the nominees are The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Okay, Ryan, so I know we discussed this beforehand. We both have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as our pick.
Yes, we do.
My reasoning is, like, just the entire Spider-Verse movies. Into the Spider-Verse, my favorite animated movie ever. Across the Spider-Verse blew that one away in terms of animation. The fact that it contained hundreds upon hundreds of different Spider-Men, each with a different art style, each with a different look. They move differently, especially Spider-Punk. He moved in different framing. He just looked very different. All these Spider-Men had different looks, and they all were just amazingly done. They all flowed together. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I agree with everything you just said. I think the film is like a huge step forward in terms of the animation medium. They really outdo themselves in the arts department. The dimension of the characters, they really added a lot, especially what they did with Miles Morales' mother and his connection with his parents. I really feel like they delved deeper into the characters. On a selfish level, I think I still prefer the first one structurally and just as a story.
Yeah, I think I agree too.
Yeah, but this film really is. I'm just excited for what they have next, and it was one of my favorite movies of last year. Normally, because of the fact that it's built up traction at the awards, I would have picked Boy and the Heron. The problem is that I think it lost a little bit of its steam because of the fact that not only was Spider-Verse a big deal this year, and the fact that the first film won, but there was a little bit of hype because Miyazaki had said this is going to be his last film, because he says that with every movie he makes now.
True.
And I'm not going to believe him until that man is straight up dead, because he says this with every movie that comes out. And even then, I'm still going to doubt it. But at this point, I love Miyazaki, for the record. But I did want to say that I think Spider-Verse, again, has this in the bag. It's just a great movie, and I think that's the favorite for a lot of people.
Let's go back to Dylan and Gabe.
Thanks, guys. Dylan, we both love Oppenheimer. It had a really important question. Can you hear the music?
I think I'm hearing it over there from Max and Truman, who's going to be handling Best Original Score and Best Original Song. Coming next.
What's up? My name is Max.
And I'm Truman.
And today we're going to be talking about the nominations for the Best Original Score.
And Best Original Song.
Let's start with Best Original Score, and the nominations are American Fiction, Laura Cartman, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Williams, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson, Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson. Poor Things, Jerskin, Fendrix. So I think Oppenheimer's going to win. I mean, it's just kind of a given. Like, the movie blew up last year. It was, like, such a breakthrough. And that one song is just so popular. And I feel like that's kind of what...
Can You Hear the Music? That's what it's called.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's what kind of this nomination has kind of become, this category. Is just, like, what most people listen to. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. I don't know if you have a different opinion. But...
Well, last year was all like 1917. Every time we get called up, we'll go bwomp, 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 bwomp. I think this time it's going to be all Oppenheimer. Can You Hear the Music? Because it's going to be winning a lot, and I think it's going to win this one as well. I agree with you. I think Oppenheimer will win because the music really sold that film.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think the soundtrack really like was separate from the movie, even like
really elevated it.
Yeah.
And now for Best Original Song, the nominees are The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot, music and lyrics by Diane Warren. I'm Just Ken from Barbie, music and lyrics by Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt. It Never Went Away from American Symphony, music and lyrics by John Baptiste and Dan Wilson. Wajache, A Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon, music and lyrics by Scott George. What Was I Made For from Barbie, music and lyrics by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. So personally, I think, I'm Just Ken is my favorite. I think that What Was I Made For is definitely going to win this one because, Billie Eilish came in and kind of knocked it out of the park with this song. I think it's kind of, they like to go moody. They love to go moody at the Oscars. And it's like a very what's the meaning of life kind of song. Mm-hmm. And so I think in line with what the Oscars usually are, I think they're going to embrace that and they're going to go with Billie Eilish for her big night.
Right. I mean, that song also won Grammy for Song of the Year, so
yes,
I feel like that, again, is separated from the film. If I had my choice, I would do I'm Just Ken. I love the part of the end with the Kenergy part. I think it's great. I think the song had a lot of cultural impact, but I think, realistically, the Academy is going to pick the Billie Eilish song. I mean, it has over 700 million streams on Spotify alone, so it just kind of it had that impact on the world. So.
And now let's go back to Dylan and Gabe.
Score! Both in the points way and also in the music they just talked about. I'm hysterical.
Yes, you are, sir. Both me and you, Gabe, know that a movie is only as good as its writing, and there were some stellar screenplays this year. Let's kick it over to Colin and Nick, who are going to be handling both of those.
Hey, what's up, movie fans? I'm Nick.
And I'm Colin.
And today we're going to be talking about the Best Adapted Screenplay nominations and the Best Original Screenplay nominations. And the nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay are American Fiction by Cord Jefferson, Barbie by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan, Poor Things by Tony McNamara, and The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer. So, Colin, this has been a great year for movies.
It really
but
has.
There's one, not just in the writing department, but in everything that stood out for me, and I think that is definitely because of the screenplay tying it all together, and that's Oppenheimer. This was a transcendent movie, as Dylan will say later in this video. I bought the screenplay for this movie,
That's
and
in your room.
I love it. It is in my room, and you've seen it. I love it. It is just an absolutely haunting and beautifully told story, I think. What do you think?
You know, I was thinking that I was going to say Barbie, but I am going to go with Oppenheimer. I think that is kind of really just a 10 out of 10 movie. Like, everything about it was perfect, the way it was written especially, and that's definitely my pick for who's going to win. And the nominees for Best Original Screenplay are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. So, who I think is going to win is The Holdovers. I think it's really just like a heartwarming and sweet film overall, so that's really just my pick for why it's going to win.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. I've seen all these movies, and this has been a very hard choice for me to try and think of what I would pick. But I'm going to pick one that's been, like, super snubbed. People have called it, like, shameless Oscar bait. But you know what? I'll put some credit on its name. Maestro is an incredible movie.
Wow.
It's so good. The screenplay of that, the way it delves into the themes of Leonard Bernstein and how he felt being an artist, managing his inside life versus his outside life, it was just incredible. And now, let's send it back to Dylan and Gabe.
Dylan, are you okay? You look emotionally distraught.
I'm good. I miss Tim.
I miss him too. That ginger-headed angel is one of my best friends. But he actually sent in a pre-tape, and he's going to tell us all about Best Editing.
Oh my god.
Coming up next!
Hey everyone, it's Tim, and I'm here to announce the nominees for Best Editing at the 2024 Academy Awards ceremony, and to give a few of my thoughts on who I think might be the winner. The nominees are as follows: The Holdovers, edited by Kevin Tent; Oppenheimer, edited by Jennifer Lame; Poor Things, edited by Yorgos Mavropsaridis; Anatomy of a Fall, edited by Lawrence Seneschal; and Killers of the Flower Moon, edited by Thelma Schoonmaker. Now, best editing can be a tough award to lock down, given that, at least in my opinion, I think it's much easier to notice bad editing than good editing, in that a well-put-together film is so cleanly edited that you don't notice the edits. You're just fully engrossed in the narrative. But there was one film that I walked out of this year thinking that was just a strongly well-put-together film, and that was Oppenheimer. I think for a 3-hour film to feel like an hour and a half in the theater is a testament to how seamlessly it flows from scene to scene and how well put together it is as a whole. Not only that, but Oppenheimer, like every other Christopher Nolan movie, deals with time as a key component of its structure. And Jennifer Lame did a phenomenal job splicing together these two separate timelines to the point where I was never lost or confused at any point in the story, and it made for a very enjoyable experience in the theater for me. So for those reasons, I have to say that I think Oppenheimer will be walking away with the Best Editing Academy Award this year. That's all from me, guys. Thanks for listening. Now back to Gabe and Dylan at the desk.
Thank you, Tim, you crimson-haired cutie. Now, Dylan, the fake crying you just did was honestly, it was beautiful. You are deserving of an Academy Award for Best Actor.
Wow, I really appreciate you saying that, but honestly, we got to check out the real nominations over with Mac and Thomas right now.
Hey guys, I'm Mac.
And I'm Thomas.
And today we're going to be talking about the nominees for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor. And the nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction; Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon; Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer; Ryan Gosling, Barbie; and Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. So every once in a while, Thomas, you have a nominee that's just like a slam dunk,
absolutely,
closed case for this. That's Robert Downey Jr.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he was just so powerful in Oppenheimer, and he's clearly the standout in this category. Not to say that there's the performances are not comparable. I honestly think that any of these nominees would win in a different year. But
yeah, I absolutely agree. I think in any other year, De Niro wins this in a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just so captivated by Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Oppenheimer. I can't live in a world where he doesn't win the Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, in my opinion, a close second could be Mark Ruffalo. I thought he was amazing, but again, this is RDJ's award. Mark my words.
Yes, I agree. And now let's move on to Best Actor in a Leading Role. And the nominees are Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Mac, like you said with Best Supporting Actor, we are in a year where there's just one answer that is just so much better than the others.
Yeah.
And like you said, with Best Supporting Actors, in any other year, you could see a clear case for them to win. But that's not the case. Cillian Murphy led in the best movie of 2023. He absolutely deserves this Oscar. And if he doesn't win this, it's I'm going to go up and riot. Will Smith, Chris Rock slap them.
I would have loved to see Paul Giamatti win for The Holdovers. Like, that was personally one of my favorite movies of the year. But yes, this is Killian's award this year. He absolutely crushed it in Oppenheimer. I think him winning SAG and Golden Globe, that's a huge predictor, and Oppenheimer is going to have a big night.
Absolutely. Oppenheimer, it deserves every award that is up for Cillian Murphy. He deserves Best Leading Actor. I mean, there's just no other way, in my opinion, for the best leading actor to go the way it will.
Yeah. And yeah, with that, we'll send it back to Gabe and Dylan.
And now we're going to look at the nominees for Best Sound. The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1, Oppenheimer, The Zone of Interest. Gabe.
Yeah, man.
I know we have the same choice here.
We do.
When I was in that theater and the Trinity test happens...
We're referring to the theater in Oppenheimer.
We are referring to the theater in Oppenheimer. When the Trinity bomb test and that moment of build-up, and then you finally hear the bomb go off, might have been the craziest moment theater experience I've ever had.
So I saw it a couple of times. Yeah. I saw it once in 4DX, and when the bomb went off, the combination of the speakers and the chair moving felt like I was getting punched in the gut in the best way.
In a good way, yeah.
I also was in movie theaters when Oppenheimer was screening, and you could tell exactly when the bomb went off. Like, I was sitting in Barbie, and, Barbie's going on this existential crisis, and you hear... kaboom!
It's funny you say that. Same thing happened to me. When I saw Barbie, the theater next to me was watching Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I knew what part of the movie they were at when that bomb went off. And just a testament to the sound of this movie. It's
the sound is truly incredible, and honestly, it's kind of the same way that I know a lot of people felt watching Saving Private Ryan in 1997, when they're like, the sound will reverberate through your body and completely change you, and the sound reverberated through my body and completely changed me.
And now, let's take a look at Best International Feature. Io Capitano, Italy. Perfect Days, Japan. Society of the Snow, Spain. The Teacher's Lounge, Germany. And The Zone of Interest from the United Kingdom.
Now, Dylan, in 2023, I embarked on something for my podcast I called Gabe Movie Quest, where I went and saw every single major movie that was released in theaters, and if it came to streaming, I saw it in streaming. I saw way too many movies, and I did in fact see all of these nominees for Best International Feature. The presumptive winner is going to be The Zone of Interest, a movie that I think depicts the Holocaust in a frankly disgusting way. And I know some people might choose to disagree with me, but out of principle, I refuse to say that. Another point that I'd like to point out is that, frankly, I don't think we should be calling films from the United Kingdom foreign films, because I think it denies less developed countries the opportunity to earn revenue and exposure for films that they are putting out. So I'm going to say Society of the Snow. It is a Netflix release. It's from Spain. It's a true story based on a soccer team that crashed on the side of a mountain, and it quickly turns into Lord of the Flies. Now, like I said, I believe Zone of Interest will win, but I'm not here to support that movie. So, Society of the Snow, Netflix, check it out.
There you go.
Now, Dylan, is the executive producer of the Review Crew, I think I have a unique opportunity and a unique ability to speak to the Best Director Award. Here are the nominees. Anatomy of a Fall, Justine Triet. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan. Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos. The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. Dylan, we're going to be saying one name a lot when we recap the Academy Awards, and that name is Oppenheimer, because Christopher Nolan is going to win Best Director for the movie Oppenheimer. It's incredible. The directing is incredible.
It shocks me to learn that he hasn't won Best Director going into
No,
this film.
I mean, honestly, you could have given it to him for, The Dark Knight. You could have given it to him for Dunkirk. But if he doesn't win it for Oppenheimer, I think, honestly, you may see a riot occur at the Academy Awards, and I will be leading the charge. I will have pitchforks.
I want to say, pretty much unanimously when this movie came out, everyone was like, yeah, it's winning. Everyone knew it was getting nominated for Best Picture, without a doubt. But I think most people think Oppenheimer is going to win this award, me and you included.
So let me ask you real quick, because we've said a lot about how much we love Oppenheimer. What's your favorite Christopher Nolan movie?
I think...
And you can't say Oppenheimer because it's too easy.
I don't think I'm going to go with Oppenheimer. I think my favorite Nolan movie still is Inception, and probably Interstellar after that. But I do think Oppenheimer is my third favorite of his movies.
I don't think this one is his best, but I'm going to say my favorite. It's The Prestige. Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale. I love movie. David Bowie, and David Bowie is in it, and he chews up the scenery in every scene he's in.
Tesla.
And it is a movie as a magic trick, and I think it's incredible. Now, Dylan, before we leave, we have to talk about the Best Picture Academy Award. Before we do, I really quickly want to say thank you to you. This is going to be our last time in Review Crew. We're probably going to do a couple more reviews before this semester ends, but this is our last Academy Awards together. I've really enjoyed talking about so many of these movies
Don't
with
make
you.
me cry before
and
we get to the last.
I appreciate all the help you've
category
had
here.
and provided me, and we've been doing this for 3 years now. So,
Dude, likewise.
we're wrapping it up.
It's been real.
You want to hit
It's
us with
really
the
been real.
nominees for Best Picture?
I will hit you with nominees for Best Picture. Here they are: American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer.
Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Gabe, I think we got the same exact movie here. You want to count it down?
Let's
Same
count it down.
time? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Ninja
Oppenheimer.
Turtles. Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer.
It's Oppenheimer.
It's Oppenheimer.
All right,
Oppenheimer.
as much
is
as
the
I
best
loved
picture.
Ninja Turtles 2 Mutant Mayhem,
No diggity.
Oppenheimer is one of those movies that come along every few years that truly just transcends the medium. And I kid you, like, the amount of people that this actually got to, not even just film lovers, the amount of people that really got out there word of mouth for this movie is just substantial, and it gives me a lot of hope for the film industry moving on, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
But Oppenheimer is, Nolan at his best, and also just a movie that I think is insanely thought-provoking and very important for where we are at in just history.
Yeah, and if you liked Oppenheimer, I'll say you should read American Prometheus by Kai Bird. It is the book that Oppenheimer is derived from. It is simply fantastic. It's a little big, but it's thoroughly compelling, just like Oppenheimer. Before we go, first off, thank you to everyone who donated. And I have to say, as the executive producer of this show, thank you so much to everyone who's involved in Review Crew. You guys are the reason that I do everything. So, a round of applause for everyone in Review Crew. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time!